Lessons from the Autobiography of Malcolm X. The Autobiography of Malcolm X is rated by the New York Times as one of the 10 most important nonfiction books of the 20th century. Here's a summary of the book and a set of learned lessons. The book sheds light on the roots of racism through the life of Malcolm X and his personal experiences. His story starts with a traumatic childhood when his house was burned and his father was killed by the KKK. His mother, a widow of 8 children at the age of 32, experienced racism and social injustices that stood in her way, and she couldn't raise her children. With all the stress that she has been through, she ended up in a mental health institute, and Malcolm X and his 7 siblings were separated into many foster homes. During his teenage years, more racism and racist experiences shaped Malcolm's perspective of the world and the relationship between the different races. His high school teacher discouraged him from becoming a lawyer, as he told him he wanted to, and he told him that it's more realistic for someone like him, meaning someone who is black, to become a carpenter. Although the same teacher encouraged all other white students, to become whatever they want to. And that's despite Malcolm being one of the most brilliant students in his class. Malcolm also experienced a lot of unconscious racism by the white managers of the Reform Institute that he lived in. Despite these people being kind, they always viewed him as less than them. They used the N-word and made terrible comments about black people in front of him, with total unawareness that these words hurt him. Malcolm ended up dropping out of school and lived a street life in Harlem's black ghettos. This life was full of drugs, prostitution, burglary, crime, and more exposure to racist environments, such as places where blacks are only allowed to enter as servants. The next stop in Malcolm's life was prison. In prison, Malcolm was so angry with God. It was also in prison that Malcolm was exposed to the Nation of Islam, with its strict moral values, but also very absurd principles. These principles are very deviant from true Islamic teachings. For example, they say that the white man is the devil, which is totally un-Islamic. Yet it resonated with all of Malcolm's childhood and teenage year racist experiences. It was also in jail when Malcolm started reading and educating himself about philosophy, history, and especially about the history of black man and black civilizations. When he got out of prison, Malcolm was a different man. He joined the Nation of Islam, and he worked as an activist for black people's rights. During his journey, Malcolm X was labeled as a hate preacher, and that's because of the absurd ideas that were preached by the Nation of Islam, which is that the white man is the devil, and that there's no way for white and black people to integrate and live together in peace. Finally, Malcolm realized the moral corruption of the Nation of Islam's leader, Elijah Muhammad, who had many children from many young women outside of marriage. That led to Malcolm X leaving the Nation of Islam. The last and most important station in Malcolm X's life was being exposed to true Islamic teachings when he went to Hajj, which is the Muslim pilgrimage. In Hajj, Malcolm saw a true and sincere brotherhood between all human races and ethnicities. His new experience contradicted with his childhood ones. He finally saw and witnessed all races living together as brothers. He learned the true teachings of Islam, that we are all equal, and that a white person has no superiority over a black person, and a black person has no superiority over a white person except by piety and good action. He saw Islam's cure for the racist hearts. One of the most important points discussed by the autobiography is the exposure of unconscious racism, the type of racism found in people who are kind but unaware of their own racist views of other people of different colors and ethnicities. They're ignorant about historical facts and other people's traumatic experiences, which makes them very sensitive to racial issues. This problem can be resolved by studying history and other people's experiences. Another point that is highlighted by the biography is that when a person goes through traumatic racist experiences, this can result in them having or adopting very distorted views about the world and about others. It leads to an inability of people to coexist with one another. This issue can be resolved through real kindness, brotherhood, and believing in the message of Islam and its true religious teachings that we are all equal by creation and we are granted equal dignity and rights by God. May Allah bless the soul of Malcolm X, forgive his shortcomings, and make his legacy of benefit and good educational value for everyone who reads it.